Welcome to Better Business with Magic. I'm your host, Nolan Webster, where it's my job to pull back the curtain and share with you concepts of magic that you can use in your industry. My guest for today is Kennedy. With more than 17 years as a full-time mentalist, Kennedy uses his skills in understanding how people think to help business owners grow their business. He has also entertained all over the world for the likes of Mensa and Yahoo, and is now one of the hosts of the Email Marketing Show, a weekly podcast all about psychology-based email marketing. Kennedy, thank you and welcome.
Hey, Nolan, good to see you, man.
Hey, same here. So I have to ask this up front. In the state of the world that we're in today, how are things over there?
What, in the UK? I mean, I think we're all, seeing limits on what we can do, what we can go about, what we can get on with and stuff. But I think you have to just be creative and just do other stuff. Otherwise, you'll drive yourself mad. In fact, everyone I'm speaking to is like, I expected to be like sitting around on the sofa reading my book like I'm in some kind of Jane Austen novel. But it turns out I'm busier than ever. And I don't know if it's good busy or it's just busy. But right. Yeah, running around, it's good. No, I'm really enjoying it.
I know recently you put on a 2-day virtual conference for magicians, teaching them the business side of magic. Are you going more towards virtual stuff these days, or what kind of busy are you right now?
Yeah, I mean, I've diversified my business quite a bit anyway. I've always been a fan of, I think in all business, we have to have not have all of our fingers, we need to not have all of our eggs in one basket. We need to have our fingers in lots of pies, right? So because I know that entertainment goes up and down, and generally it's not going to go away unless there's some kind of pandemic, then that's a fairly secure thing. But I don't know, if mind readers and mentalists go out of vogue, and that's difficult to sell for whatever reason, then I need to have other things to do. But the other reason I started another business was because as a full-time professional since I was 18 years old, and now I'm 36, I've got a lot of spare time. Like, I spend a lot of time in departure lounges and on planes and waiting when I get there. I mean, I'm in the car on the way to the hotel, or I'm in the hotel and I've done the sound check and I'm waiting. It's just loads of waiting. Like, I'll fly to Dubai for like who knows how many hours to do 45 minutes and then fly all the way back and all the waiting in between. So I've got a really short attention span. So I needed to fill the time. So I diversified, and so I do other stuff. I have this podcast, the Email Marketing Show. We have another brand with my business partner, Rob, which is all about teaching really good psychology-based email marketing. That's what we do, which is great because I can do that whether I'm stuck at home because there's a COVID-19 or if I'm out there on the road. Like, either way, like, long as I can get on the internet, which was tricky last night because there was a big storm here. But in general, it's fine. And what's really interesting, I think one of the things maybe the lesson to perhaps pull out of that is you've got to do more of what you're good at. A lot of people, when they get into like self-development, especially like business development or self-development, those things, like the self-improvement industry, all gets you to focus on the stuff you're bad at, rather than, so you go, oh, you're really bad at this, do better, and you kind of feel a bit bad about yourself and think, oh, that's bad. Whereas what's better to do is look at the stuff you're really good at and do more of that. So I leverage my skills of, I like to chat and I like to teach and I like to share and perform. So I do that in that business too. So I teach a lot and I do a lot of podcasting and that kind of thing. So it's just leveraging the same skills, which I know is exactly what this show's about, isn't it?
Yeah, there's been several clients that I've consulted for in the past where they have this one fixated idea of what their business should be or what they want to do. But after we sit down and explore different ways they can still do what they love doing, it's just in a different realm or a different industry, they're still happy and they still get to do what they want to do. There's some musicians that want to create one certain type of music and get paid for it, but they're missing out on all the other opportunities to get royalties, to do commercials, to do soundtracks, to do all these other things that music can be a part of. But sometimes no clients are just focused on one niche area, and it's good to have a view outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, but also at the same time, you're going to make sure you're still being true to the reason you're doing the thing you want to do.
Definitely.
In his book, Myth, Michael Gerber talks about we all begin in business, if we're the founder of the business, doing the thing we wanted to do. So for me, it was being a mentalist. For you, it's whatever you do. And then we end up, and that's what Michael Gerber calls being the technician. And then we end up suddenly acquiring all of these other roles that we never wanted to have. We end up being a finance person, a marketing person, a salesperson, a strategic person, a manager, a director. We end up doing all this stuff. And we were like, I only want to do magic tricks on stage. That's all I want to do. So we have to remember that we do have to build our business around us as well, right? So I've definitely ended up where I've been in the business where I'm like doing lots of stuff that shouldn't be me. I hate doing. And that's when we look at making sure that I get rid of those tasks. And we're currently going through that process literally today of going, right, I'm doing lots of stuff I should not be doing, like queuing that thing and sorting that thing out and appointments and blah, stuff I shouldn't be doing. So yeah, I think as long as it's contributing to what you want, never mind what you need, I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, no, this whole thing born out of my love for magic and wanting to find ways to still do magic, but don't be so reliant on shows, but still, have this passion for performing and getting in front of people and talking. And my love for business, I have an MBA in finance. My undergrad is in finance as well. I love business and I want to share it. And so just trying to find a way to merge the two to where I could do a small show at the beginning of a lecture to help demonstrate concepts that I'm going to talk about later on. So I still get the best of both worlds. It just took a little bit of time and a little creativity, some other people to come in and say, hey, this can work this way. And like you said, magicians, I know we're bad at this. We try to do everything. But having a team around you, especially if you can either afford it or if you have friends that want to be a part of what you're doing, if you're a new business, your new CEO, your new entrepreneur, you're going to try to take on everything. But if you can find teams or people to get a small team with, I think you're going to set yourself up for success better than if you're solely focused on writing an app. And now all of a sudden you're trying to, accounting spreadsheets and P&L statements. And, you're going to come up with a marketing campaign. And you need to write the copyright for your Facebook ads. It's going to overwhelm you. And I think having that team is going to be really important.
Yeah, I mean, it's having the team and making sure you've got, one of the things that I definitely made a mistake on in the past was hiring people who are cheaper because they're less experienced, which means I could afford them. What the benefit of actually hiring more experienced people is you don't have to coach them, you don't have to train them. They're bringing their expertise into the business, and that's the really important thing. So if I want to, it's similar in magic. If I want to learn some really good sleight of hand, I'm not going to go to somebody who's not very good at sleight of hand. I'm going to go to somebody who is really good at sleight of hand. I'm going to call one of my friends and I'm be like, hey, can you teach me how to do that thing? So I think finding experts in a thing, it's like when I put on this conference, this Entertainers Business Marketing Conference, a virtual conference, over 1,000 people from all around the world, different time zones attended across the 2 days. And it was amazing. And I was able to tap into people who are brilliant at each of their things. So we had someone talking about the wedding industry, which is a huge piece of the magic market in the UK, not so much in the States, but so I got the best person there is about the wedding industry. And then another friend of mine who's really good at trade show and pulling crowds. So that means they can share their knowledge, and we can all share the knowledge from people who are experts at it, rather than me going, I've heard of trade shows, I'll tell you how that works, which would suck.
Now, in my intro for you, one of the companies or businesses you performed for was Mensa. And honestly, I did not know what that was whenever I first heard it. So there may be some people out there that don't know what it is. So can you explain it to them?
Yeah, Mensa is the high IQ society. You can take the Mensa test, and if you get I think it's the top 1%, but I may have that wrong. It's been a long time since I was involved in that stuff. But if you take the test, you get the top 1%, you get offered the opportunity to join the organization. And they have a meeting every year, an event, a conference called the Meeting of the Minds. And it sounds like a mentalism convention, if you ask me, but it's called the Meeting of the Minds. And they have lectures and talks and dinner and after dinner entertainment, which is what they hired me to do. And then I also offered them that I could do a lecture the next day. So on the Saturday night, I did a show after dinner. And then on the Sunday morning, I had a talk about communication skills and persuasion. And And that was great fun. But I think, tell you what was really weird is I was on my way to the event and I thought, these people are really smart. What if they just see through all my techniques and they know exactly what's going on? So luckily that wasn't the case, and they really enjoyed it. It was great fun.
Do you think they tried to overthink the trick or the effect? I'm not sure if you talked to any of them after the show, if they were like,
I mean, I think what's really interesting about all of magic, all of mentalism, and whichever flavor of magic or mystery arts you go through is it's all got misdirection in it. So even if somebody is overthinking it, they should have been misdirected anyway away from thinking about the thing you don't want them to think about. So that's what's really interesting. And that's what business is about. Business and marketing and sales are really about building beliefs and managing people's attention, aren't they? Like that's what it's about. Like one of the things we talk about a lot on our podcast, the email marketing show, and actually with our members of our programs when we teach email marketing, is it's all about building beliefs. And the question we have to ask ourselves are, in order to buy our product, in order for us, for somebody, anybody to buy what we sell, what are the things they need to believe about themselves, about the product, and about the problem that we solve in order before they can ever buy what we sell? And once you figure those things out, all you've got to do is come up with content and emails and videos or whatever, which builds those beliefs and helps them understand those beliefs. And that's the same as putting a show together. What do they need to believe about that briefcase before the tiger comes out of it? Well, they need to believe that it's a real briefcase. And none of these things might be true, of course. Probably not if a tiger comes out of it. But they need to believe it's a real briefcase and that it's really lightweight and that that's a real tiger. They need to believe that it was nowhere near the floor, even though it might have been, you know. So it's the same thing. It's all about building beliefs.
I think with that is controlling the experience and scripting. Especially for magicians in a theater setting, we can control pretty much everything from the music that's being played, the lighting, the curtains, how the ushers bring people down, the ticket sale, the whole process, to where we help establish that belief of what's about to happen. And then we use the dialogue, the scripting to help instill that in the audience. And I think businesses can use that same technique and concept of creating this whole experience and controlling that. Apple does a great job of whenever you go in, the way it's laid out, their store, the way that their employees greet you and move you along this process, the emails you get whenever you order something, you know, hey, it's currently being built. Your item's now being shipped. Your item's on an airplane right now. They control the whole customer experience and they're scripting along with that. I think businesses don't always realize that they too have a quote unquote script that they can write to help the user experience. I know personally, I think for restaurants, their menu is their script. And you go to some restaurants, there's just like 13 pages of items to choose from. And it's too much, it's convoluted. If they would just take some time, cut it back to where it's concise, it puts across the menu items that they want to have out there, it would be a much better experience for the customer.
It could be. I mean, let me just play devil's advocate for just for the sheer fun of it, really. Sure. But I mean, I think one approach is cut the menu back. Okay, that's fine. But actually, you could, if you have a menu of 300 pages, then that's your unique selling proposition. There's a pub that my business partner Rob and I and our girlfriends have been to a couple of times. And they have this enormous menu. Like it's an extravagant, and literally there's a section for Indian food, there's a section for Chinese food, for Thai food, for like Filipino food, for Indonesian food, like every kind of food, Mexican, everything, British, whatever. And the reason that it works for them is because the whole advertising angle and the proposition from that business is going to be, it doesn't matter if you've got a member of your party who doesn't like Indian food, because there's 300 different nationalities of food in here or whatever. So I think whatever you've got, often you don't need to change what you've got as a product. You almost always need to refine the offer that you are making. What is the message of the offer? Because you could position 300-page menu as, hello, do you want to come to our restaurant? It's really overwhelming and you'll never know what to pick.
Right.
That's a terrible offer. Whereas if you say, it doesn't matter what kind of food you fancy. In fact, even if you don't know, when you walk in the door, if you're in the mood for Indian food or Chinese food, when you sit down at the table, you can have either. And you can decide right up to the last minute, because you know what it's like when you've booked to go to an Italian restaurant and then you're getting ready and you say to your partner, I really don't fancy Italian food tonight. This problem never happens in our restaurant because there's 300 different types of food. So it all comes down to the frame. It comes down to what Ogilvy in his book, in his classic book about advertising called Ogilvy on Advertising, he calls it the big marketing idea. That's what he calls it. And it is about what is that offer and how do you angle that thing. And these are the guys who came up with the idea that Dove soap is for women to use in the bath, and it's not, and that was the whole angle. That's where that came from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, framing your product, your service to get to the right customer is very important. Now, I know you've done a lot of work in the magic community and entertainers in general as far as helping them find the right customer. So what tips do you have for people starting a new business? They're in the startup phase, development phase, and they need to find the right customer?
You know, it's a simple thing, but it's not easy to do. And it's to ask, I think it's to answer this question. I've been thinking about this a lot, you know, and I think one of the questions we really have to answer is, with what I sell or what I offer, who has the biggest problem that this solves? So for example, I have courses and a membership and a whole community online about email marketing. Now, I could sell that to corporations, to large stores, to literally anybody. But the people who really need that help are the small micro businesses who are like 1, 2, 3 to 5 people. Maybe it's them with a couple of outsourced people. Maybe it's just them, and they want to be able to sell more of their stuff online. And right now our offer has pivoted, of course, because right now you used to be able to go and speak to people and shake their hand. We can't do that right now. So our offer is really about, are you having to find new ways of selling your product? And if you are, you need to do that online, which means you need to do it by email. Those are the people who we can help the most. People who are overwhelmed, don't even know what they don't know to do with email marketing. So the question is, who are the people who need your help the most? And it's got to be, they need it, it's highly valuable, and it's urgent. That's really important. I spent a long time trying to sell stuff to people who wanted it, needed it, but it wasn't an urgent pain. It was a pain they'd lived with for a long time. So I think that's what we've got to do, is think about, okay, I've got this widget, I've got this thing that I do, I've got this product, this service, I'm a consultant, whatever. Who really has the biggest pain, the biggest, most urgent pain that I can solve? Because guess what? You don't then have to sell to them. You then go up to them and go, oh, is that really sore? Oh, that looks really sore. Can I help you out with that? Yeah, you can. Great. There's no selling. It's just helping people out when they're in pain.
Yeah, there's a concept in Minimalist that I've been going over the past few weeks. A good way to tie it into marketing, where in minimalism, the way most things work is either we tell somebody what to think and we tell them what they're thinking, or they tell us what they're thinking and we tell it back to them. So I think in business, it's the same thing of understanding your customer. The customer either tells you what they need, you give it to them, or you tell them what they need, you give it to them. Either way, they're happy. Oh, I didn't know I needed this. Yes, you have this problem. Don't you see it? Oh, I see it now. Well, here, let me fix it for you. Or they tell us, I have this huge problem. I don't know what to do. Well, here's a solution for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Now, you've mentioned email marketing several times, and I'll go ahead and get into it now. Do you feel that email marketing, with all the other social media and ways to get attention these days, is still relevant?
So it's really interesting. When email came around, it stands for electronic mail because it is the replacement for the mail. It's the updated electronic version of letters from your gran. That's what it was. But
Mhm.
it's no longer that. Email is in and of itself its own thing. First of all, email is still, according to brand new stats, the number one revenue sales generating channel in the world, bar none. The highest senders of emails in the world are the social media platforms, right?
Mhm.
Um, and the reason all of this is happening is because email's no longer that thing that we just check on our computer. Email is another app which is snuggled in between TikTok and Instagram on our phones, and it's just another app that allows us to send notifications, information, value, whatever it is, straight to people's brains. It's just another app. And what's really nice about this app compared to all of the others is you own the data in email. If Facebook kicks you off, which it does to people every day
Mhm.
for apparently, and I'm doing air quotes, no apparent reason, well, they've got terms and conditions, they've got stuff that makes them fussy. Of course they have. So has every platform, right? But if they just change their pants one day, or they change the algorithm, and they stop showing your posts, or they stop showing your posts to more people, then you are at the mercy of the algorithm. Whereas if you've got people's email addresses, and let's say you've got it in one email marketing platform, and that email marketing platform goes crazy at you and hates you, and you fall out, you download your email data and you put it into a different email platform. You can't do that with Facebook. You can't download your Facebook contacts and upload them to anywhere, or Instagram, or TikTok, or anywhere else. Basically, if you're building your entire business on social media, you're building a business on somebody else's land at the mercy of them constantly changing the rules, because they are. The algorithm is artificially intelligent to figure out what's going to work and what engages people. It's doing that by itself. It's out of control. If you watch the Netflix documentaries, you know it is out of control. So what's interesting is you can build an audience for what you do, build an audience on social media, build your business with email. And therefore you've got an algorithm-proof business where you actually own the data.
I would say a lot of people would argue that they get so much email that it's easy for them to skip over the email that you send out, or they may consider it spam. So what would be a good conversion rate on an email marketing campaign of openness?
Sure. I mean, it's really interesting. The other great thing about email is you can measure people's engagement, and you can segment people based on what they engage with. So if you click on a link to my thing where I'm selling water, I know you're interested in water, so I can send you more emails about water. Whereas if you don't, and you click on the link which is about Coca-Cola, I can send you more stuff about Coca-Cola. So that's another great thing, right? So conversion rates are really interesting. We get asked a lot. Like, we get interviewed, I would say 3 or 4 times a day. No, 3 times a day, not 4 times a day, but 3 times a day about email marketing, right? And everybody asks us, what should my open rate of my emails be? And what should my click-through rate of the links in my email marketing be? And the reason everybody obsesses about those 2 numbers is because they're the 2 numbers that the email marketing platform can show you. Because they know how many people open their emails. They actually don't. I'll get onto that in a second. But they do know the number of people who click their emails. They don't know any more than that. So they show you the information they've got, which is great. Problem is, open rate is really always going to under report. Because if somebody opens their emails on an Android phone or on Firefox using their Thunderbird technology, or more and more of these email marketing platforms, they actively block open reporting. Actively, like so you can never know who's opened your emails.
Interesting.
Which is really unusual, which is not many people know that. So what is the metric? What is the metric we should be measuring? The metric is what we call the master metric, is earnings per subscriber. And what I mean by that is you look back at January and you go, right, how many people were on my email list in January? It was 100 people. How much did I make in January in sales from my email list? I made £100. or $100. Wow. In that case, divide one number by the other. You've got $1 per subscriber per month. Then do the same for February. How many people are on my list? How much did I earn from that list? Is that, and then you divide one by the other, and now you've got another metric, and now you've got a new number, but now you know whether that number is increasing or decreasing. The aim of the game that we've called a marketing business is to increase the amount we're earning per subscriber. The reason being is we're in business, which means we can only be around, we can only help people, we can only serve people if we are in business and if we're making a profit, right? And so therefore we can't pay our bills with likes, with shares, with number of minutes watched on YouTube. We can't pay our mortgage, our anything, our lives with any of that stuff. We can only pay it with money. So we need to measure the ultimate macro metric. And that is, how much are we earning for the number of people on my list? Therefore, you also know how much you can spend to get more people on your email list.
Speaking of email lists, new business starting out, have this great little toy. How do I build my email list?
I mean, that's a massive question, Nolan. That's a huge question. The big thing we have to think about is, if everything points towards your email list, then you better make sure your email marketing can sell them things. So we have a really good email marketing engine, we call it, right? And that's basically a complete system which we've set up in our business. And we know if somebody joins the list, this is the numbers we can look at. Per person, we know what our earnings per subscriber are. If you haven't got one of those, it doesn't matter how many people you put on your list. You could get 1 million. I could go to one of those dodgy websites online and get somebody to give me 1 million email addresses. I can put them on my email list and I can look at them and go, that's nice. It makes me feel lovely. But I can't pay for dinner with my girlfriend. I can't buy some new toys for my lovely little kittens. I can't do any of that stuff. What we can do instead, though, is if we look at quality subscribers and getting people who are most likely to buy from us, then that's when it gets interesting. And the big key is to tell people you've got an email list and give them a really compelling reason to join it and stick around. So the first thing you want to do is tell them, join my list and you will get, and then tell them what the benefit of joining your list is. Putting a thing on your website, and I see entertainers do this all the time, I see more businesses doing this all the time, is join our email newsletter. Why? I already get too much email that I don't care about. But if you send me more emails, they better be damn good and they better help me. They better have actual value in, which goes back to your previous point about, do we get too many emails? We get too many irrelevant, valueless emails. If I send you an email every day, mate, and I send you a new way to make £100 every day or $100 every day I email you going, here's do this thing to make $100. You're going to read that email every day. Of course you are, if that's worth it to you. So it's about, is there value in that email? And there's different types of value. Actually, we did an episode on our podcast, The Email Marketing Show. If you literally look for it on your favorite podcast player, it's about the 7 different types of value you can include in an email. And it doesn't have to just be teaching people. That's just one type of value. Another one is entertain them. That's another one. Another one is to give them hope. Is another type of value. So there's 7 different types of value you can give people. So make sure there's value in the email, even if you didn't make a sales offer, even if you weren't selling anything. Is there value in the email? And therefore you'll increase your open rate. You'll increase how long people stay around and actually read and consume and engage with your emails, right? So getting them on your list in the first place comes down to that offer. It comes down to that big marketing idea. It comes down to what the heck's in it for them. So for example, one of the ways people get onto our email list is we have an email campaign. It's a 4-day flash sale campaign. It's a really psychologically stacked series of emails that put one of your products or one of your services on sale for 4 days, and it'll help you get a quick surge of sales. And we give that away for free. It's actually part of one of our books that we released, which has got all these different campaigns in it. It's got like 12 campaigns in it, but we give one of the campaigns away for free. And we get people joining our list to get that thing. And we say to them, and by the way, when you give us your email address, we'll send you that, but we'll also send you an email marketing tip every single day to help you make more sales by sending more emails that people love receiving. What's not to love about that? People want that thing. So it's about creating desire. People think, oh, but I'm talking about my email list, my newsletter, on my Twitter and on this and on that. And you go, yeah, but you're not giving them a really good reason to join the list. They don't want to be on another email list. They want to know what's in it for them. And then once you've got your big compelling reason, point everything at it. So it's amazing. I was talking to somebody this morning. We're being interviewed on a podcast, and somebody said, "Oh, well, what? How do I get it on my list?" I went to the guy's Instagram and I said, "Well, you haven't mentioned getting on newsletter on your Instagram." I went to his Twitter, not on there either. Facebook page, not on there. I said, "It's amazing. You've kept it a secret." And that's what we need to not do. At the bottom of every one of our emails, it says, did a friend forward you this email? Make sure you don't miss out on the next one. Click here and get yourself on our email list. If you go to our Twitter, it's on there. If you go to our Instagram, it's on there. Facebook group, it's in there. Literally everywhere points you to there. And because we know we've got a really good sales process for when people join our list. So don't keep it a secret.
Now, you mentioned psychology in email. So what are some psychology tips people can use in constructing their emails?
So we mentioned before already that it's about building beliefs. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we have to make sure that we are building the beliefs on are things, well, actually, we just need to make sure we are completely building beliefs that are useful rather than building beliefs which are not useful. So whenever you email someone, or talk to them or tweet them or anything, you are building a belief. And that belief is either serving you and them or it's not. So you may as well become very aware of it so that it's having a positive impact. So make sure you're very aware of the beliefs you're building. The second one I would say is to make sure you give them a reason to read the next email. Most people don't do this. But if you can somehow say, oh, and tomorrow I'm going to show you how to something. I'm going to tell you about when my cat ran across my keyboard and sent a really inappropriate email to the chief executive of Yahoo. Mm-hmm. Or whatever. So you're basically creating curiosity and what in psychology is called open loops. So you can do that quite well. Other thing to do, and this is the key to it all, apart from making sure there's value in every single one of them, and I told you about those 7 different types of value, the real trick to be able to deliver value in any email, whichever type of value you choose to give, is to tell stories. If you tell stories, then you emotionally engage with people. You also become more three-dimensional. You resonate deeper with them because we emote with stories. So it's the real simplest trick is to tell really simple stories. And I mean, and please keep your email short. Between 100 and 250 words, max. If it's longer than that, it's more than one email. Most people try and say too much in one email. And then they say to us, so it's funny, the other day, one of our clients, yesterday, in fact, we have our group coaching call twice a month for our membership, which is called the League of Email Marketing Heroes, and which is for small businesses. And everybody comes on once a month and we talk about their email marketing. We look at their campaigns and help them. And one of our clients came on and said, what should I do with this? And he showed us his email. And I said, wow, what's your click-through rate like on this? And he said, terrible. And I said, okay. And I said, how often do you email? He said, once a month. And I said, okay, why don't you email more than once a month? He said, I've got nothing else to say. And I said, you've got this hilarious problem, which is you've got one email, which is massive, that no one's reading because it's too long, and you've got nothing to say, so you only email once a month. I think we can see what the simple solution is. Make that email shorter and make it lots of emails. Because if someone hears from you more often, what's going to happen? They're going to like you more. You're going to be much more top of mind. If I'm emailing you every day and giving you something helpful and useful and fun and whimsical and entertaining, when it comes to thinking, like you and I have been, you've been in my world a little while. We've known each other, and you asked me to be on this show. Why? Because I keep showing up places. I keep popping up, and that's not by accident. I keep popping up for a lot of people. That's the point. So what you want is you don't want to email people when you want to make a sale, right? You do not want to email people when you want to make a sale. You want to email people so that when they are ready to buy, you're there. And you've built the beliefs. You've built understanding of what you do and how you do it. And you've built the trust on it. It's them, so that it's you that they choose to hire.
Would you translate those same concepts to social media as well, as far as posting every day, type of content, things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, we use social media in order to build that audience so we can then build our business on email. And our main channels are, we have a free Facebook group that people join. We're not very good at coming up with names for things. So our podcast is called The Email Marketing Show, and our Facebook group's called The Email Marketing Show Community. You know, it wasn't very creative that day. But yeah, basically we have around almost 1,000 people in that group now. And we post in there every day. I'm in there all day long, engaging with people, and really genuinely being there and being helpful. And the reason is, I want them to think, when it comes to my email marketing, there's only one person I will trust who I actually like, because we don't teach email marketing like the old-fashioned way, which was to basically get people on your email list and then email them until they buy, die, or unsubscribe. That's the old-fashioned way. It doesn't work like that anymore. We do it differently. We do it by being real, by being really genuinely being there and being genuinely helpful and really caring for people. And so when people resonate with that, when they're ready and they go, do you know what it is? I've got my business and now I need to make more sales online. I want to do that through email marketing. They now come to us. And we do the same on our Instagram. So on our Instagram is Rob and Kennedy. So Rob's my business partner, Rob and Kennedy. And every day we're posting a little tip, a little soundbite, a little thought, a little idea, at least once a day, which makes people go, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way before. And that's just drip feeding. Now, the reason we do that is because of a concept we call becoming 3D. If I email you 10 times a day, you're going to get upset pretty quickly, Nolan. I'm going to get an email from Nolan going, dude, stop bloody emailing me, please. Whereas if I email you with a cool tip every day and you like it, that's great. And then if I tweet 3 times a day, that'll be all right. And then you see my Instagram post once a day as well. And you also in the Facebook group, and you see my name in the Facebook group. Suddenly we're at 7, 8, 9, 10 posts, 10 different communication points from just me, but I haven't upset you because I'm not just standing there in your email inbox going, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. Instead, I'm surrounding you and I'm becoming 3D and you're seeing me in different platforms. And that allows you to have a deeper relationship and communicate more often in a way that does not upset people.
Now, you talked email, we've talked some social media. One social media platform that's, I guess, starting to get traction again is LinkedIn. Do you have any thoughts about using LinkedIn to get contacts or customers or make those connections?
Yeah, I mean, it's like any other social media platform. This is a professional networking platform. Of course, it's not social media because the LinkedIn police will tell you that this is not a social platform. Yes, but it's a good place, again, to build your audience, but it's a terrible way to build your business. So yeah, I was very prolific on LinkedIn for a very long time until I decided to switch focus to Facebook, honestly. But the good thing about LinkedIn is it still has some really good algorithmic things going on. And the real key to LinkedIn is to create content that people want to comment on and share. And that's the same as every other social media platform. So the reason your stuff's not getting any likes or comments on it is because it's not very good. I mean, that's unfortunately just the truth of it. You know, if you're putting up a gun, we just hired a new employee. Who cares? Like, nobody in the audience of LinkedIn cares about that. The metaphor I use for LinkedIn or any social media is, imagine you're a rock band, which means I have to imagine I'm much more cool than I am. So imagine you're a rock band and you play at a festival. You know, there's festivals that has loads of different rock bands, loads of different bands playing, right? At the festival, there's hundreds of thousands of people there, but they're not all there to see you. But I might be there to see the Prodigy. I'm like, yeah, I love it. It's great. But then the Killers come on stage and I'm like, this is amazing. And then the next time the tickets go on sale for a Killers gig near me, I buy the ticket. Me going to the Killers concert just to see the Killers, that's email marketing, right? It's about social media is everyone's there, but they're not all there to see you. Email marketing is everybody is there just to see you. So going back to LinkedIn, LinkedIn basically comes down to what content you put out there in order to attract people to you. And secondly, having an actually good outreach strategy. And I'm not talking about connect with people, drop them an inbox going, hey, I really like your profile, we should connect. Because honestly, it makes me want to be sick in my own mouth. Instead, I have I think it's 14-day, but I might be wrong. I think it's a 14-day outreach strategy that I teach fellow entertainers and my entrepreneur performers in a circle. program. And it's literally a spreadsheet with 14 different activities you do spread out about it's actually 14 days, but it's less. I think it's 12 activities over 14 days, something like that. Or it might be the other way around. Anyway, can't remember off the top of my head because I just follow the spreadsheet. I don't need to think about it. That's how I like my life. So what you do instead is it involves the first day, go look at their profile. The second day, like something they did. Like it's about building a relationship. So the first time that you drop them a DM or drop them in inbox, you don't feel like a stranger. You're not the unwelcome pest, as they used to say in old-fashioned marketing. You're now the welcome guest. Marketing cliches are coming out now, aren't they? So that's the real strategy. It's about making sure the first time you drop into their DMs as a private message, it's not the first time. It's not totally cold. That's really important.
So I think we've beat email marketing to death, at least for this morning. So I want to switch gears to performing, being creative, and giving presentations. There's people out there that are going to have to pitch their idea to an investor, maybe give a presentation in front of their company. You've performed all across the world, given lectures. Any tips for those people about to give a presentation?
Sure. I mean, there's a few things. First of all, if it's possible that you are talking about something you are passionate about because you're the company founder or you really care about the product your company produces, great news. It's very difficult for the human brain of your audience to know the difference between passion and confidence. There's almost no perceivable difference. So if you go on stage and don't focus on trying to look confident, because you'll then come across as a bit bulgy, as a bit too much. Instead, come across as passionate, and the brain doesn't know the difference. That's the first thing. Secondly, think about what you are good at. Think about what you are confident at, and look at how you are actually just leveraging the same skills you're already using in order to give that presentation. And you might not be funny. That's okay. Because while I'm funny, I might not come across as intelligent. You might come across as intelligent, but not funny. That's okay. Personality, when people say, oh, use personality in your presentations, people think that means be funny. It doesn't. There's different types of personality. There's personalities which are intriguing. Some are mysterious, some are funny, some are warm, some are nerdy and geeky. There's all these different types of personality. Just be yours and be sincere and be passionate. So that's two things I would say. I always remember as well that confidence comes from basically two things. One of the first thing that confidence is, it's about being sure in your knowledge. So the first thing is knowledge. And that is, do you know your stuff? And the good news is you can practice that before the event, before the speech, before the presentation. The second thing that confidence comes from, and you can't practice this, and you have to just get over it. I'm not saying get over it. You have to just work through it, and that is, it comes from reps. And reps, and for me, reps means two things. Reps means how many times you've done it, but also it's your internal mental reputation about yourself. It's basically your ability to look back at all the times you've done a presentation and realize how many times you did not die. And you look back at that presentation and go, oh, look, I haven't died yet. No one has actually killed me while I was talking. That's quite good. Oh, and I had that one gig there, which went bad, they booed me off and they thought I was offensive. And that person there complained about me. That's happened a few times in my career, because if you do comedic stuff, you tend to upset some people sometimes when you push the envelope a little far, and you learn about that and you feel bad for a bit, definitely. Even now, if I'm like, oh, I hate that. But you look at the majority, you go, actually, I speak a lot. I talk a lot. I talk on 2 or 3 presentations a day. And I haven't died from it yet. I've done some presentations that were better than others. But in general, I can look back at my internal reputation I have with myself and know that actually that's okay, because I'm just talking from passion. So know your stuff and then do it more. And the more you do it, the more you'll have an internal reputation with yourself of, oh, actually, this is okay.
Now, you've created several effects for the magic community. You've come out with books, lectures, and things of that nature. I've always envied those people because while I've performed, never really created that much magic, unique magic. I've always taken somebody else's ideas and just expanded on them. So what are some ways that some inspirations that you use to create new effects, to write books, to just have a source of creativity, to create new things.
Yeah, it's interesting. People think of me, and they often say this. They think of me as creative, and really, I don't know if I am that creative. I think I'm a good problem solver, which is the opposite of creative. Really, that's actually quite a logical thing to do. So the best thing that I do, I think, to get myself going, is I read a lot of I really don't read much magic. I don't read much mentalism. I don't read much of it. I'm very fortunate. I've got some fabulous friends who send me all these amazing books that they've written, and they're great. And I've still got lots of them to read because I prioritize reading stuff from outside of our industry. Because the thing is, and this is to do with business, this is to do with marketing, this is to do with creating magic tricks, whatever, creating products. If you look at, and if you spend most of your time looking at what everybody else is doing, let's say imagine you're getting a new website done, right? And a common question web designers will ask us all is, who else in your industry's website do you really like? Send me some links. And actually, that's a terrible idea, because the quickest way to blend in with everybody else's stuff is to get inspiration from everybody else in your industry. So what I do instead for everything I do is I look outside my industry. So I read a lot of books about psychics, about weird, unexplained incidents. I read books which are mystery books and mystery novels and stuff that stimulates the brain to do with mysteries and that kind of thing and the unexplained. And then those things become effect and become fodder for a routine. So, and I read stuff to do with actual real psychology, not just magic trick psychology. So psychology, like stuff that's around it, not just the latest book that the magic shops released. I actually prefer to use Amazon because, first of all, Amazon, real books about psychology are much cheaper than books about tricks. So, and what that means is you're getting input, which is a unique input, rather than, hey, there are 300 tricks to do with Rubik's Cubes being released this year. Guess what I'm not reading? I'm not reading any tricks about Rubik's Cubes. I'm not doing any tricks about Rubik's Cubes because who needs another trick with a Rubik's Cube? There's some great ones out there. And there's some great performers doing it. I don't need to be one of those people standing next to them. Instead, I'm over here where I'm looking at how does the sense of smell how is the sense of smell interesting as a performance piece? Or how can we do something to do with the game of charades? Or how can we, any of these things, how can we do things in silence? How can we do things with our eyes closed? Like, I'm asking just different questions. And that's been stimulated by looking at stuff and getting stimulus from outside.
Yeah, there's been times I've been at trade shows, and it's it's those conversations outside of the venue hall that's more organic, that's off topic, that really spurs ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, talk to people. Like if you're performing at an event, if you're a performer or if you're a business person, you've done your show, you've done your presentation, go speak to people in the bar. Two things are going to happen. One, they're going to say, oh, you could totally use your skills too, and then listen really carefully, because that's what people want to do if they had your skills. So that's one thing. The other thing you can do in that time, of course, is amazing networking. That's where I get most of my gigs from, is from the bar after my show.
Because you get them drunk and say, sign here. All right. Well, Kenny, we've been going at this for close to an hour, so I'm going to wrap it up. Any last tips or tricks or anything you want to plug?
No, it's all good, really. I mean, if that stuff we were talking about with email marketing is something that you think, actually, I need to get myself into gear with that, or when you want to be in the right place, or when you are ready to get into gear with that, you can go to Facebook and look for the Email Marketing Show community. If you want to listen to my podcast, mine and Rob's podcast, because I happen to know you like podcasts, doesn't take a mind reader to know that. So you can listen. You can go to your local friendly podcast player and look for the Email Marketing Show, or if you want to just listen to it on our website, it's at theemailmarketingshow.com. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for listening with us. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Nolan.
No problem. Thank you. And I'll put a link at the bottom of the description for all those things, so you can go find Kennedy and get all the email marketing help that you need. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.